the blue skies, the blue sea, the beautiful beach of Hawaii. Man, this place is just amazing. This is probably the best holiday I've ever had in my entire life. Well, I did wish that I brought my 3DS with me to play some Pokemon Heart Gold, because otherwise I can't enjoy myself, to be honest. Hey, what's that? Is that a Sushimon? Sushimon. RGG, I do hope that you guys have a very good lawyer there in Japan, because I know a very big mini monster, a legal monster, and it's called Nintendo. And no, it's not a Charizard. Hello guys, welcome to this very first video game review that I am doing in a green screen right now. Yes, it's very weird for me because this is basically the very first green screen video I'm ever doing. Forgive me for some minor mistakes you're going to see along the way, because this is my very first project in a green screen. But I'm trying my best. If you guys have some tips, let me know in the comment section down below. But today we're going to talk about Yakuza Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and it's amazing! One of the best Yakuza games to date in the series for sure. So stick around, because I'm going to tell you why you, yes you, the viewer, need to buy it, because you will have a absolutely fabulous time in Hawaii. The graphics for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth are pretty similar from the previous games if you've played Gaiden, Ishin or Lost Judgment. This game isn't very much different with its graphics. It still has a little bit of a PlayStation 4 feel to it that might be bothersome for some PlayStation 5 gamers out there, but to be honest, I am not the biggest graphics whore at all, so I really liked what I saw here in this game. The textures and models look very good, and I will say that the models for some of the NPCs have improved over some of the previous games, but not very much by a big amount by any means. RGG Studios is very well known for reusing assets, and they still do that here for this game. And I have to say that this tactic really works, because these games are getting out much faster than your usual AAA game. Now we have to wait, what, 5-6 years until the next AAA games come from Western studios, and RGG is like, ha! We are going to make 3 AAA games in the span of 3 years. Absolutely amazing. They are absolutely one of the most consistent companies in the video game industry. Hawaii though is a beautiful new setting, and of course it's not in Japan by any means, it's in America. If you know anything about your geography, I hope so. Because of that, you get a very different feeling from your usual Kamurocho or your Yokohama, and it's much more bright outside. Be prepared, gamers, it's very bright. I know you're not used to that. I am not either, I'm a vampire. I do miss some of the neon signs, atmosphere that you got from a lot of the Japanese settings. But Hawaii has its own atmosphere with the palm trees and the blue skies. That still is very unique, and I really love that about this game. So maybe RGG should continue more to look towards locations outside of Japan as well, because this has proven to be a very good location as well, even though it's not Japan. Don't worry though, you can also visit Kamurocho and Yokohama as well in the game, so don't worry about that. All these settings are playable. Why am I sitting, by the way, on the ground? I guess I'm just a very lazy content creator. For some weird reason though, everyone in Hawaii speaks Japanese, which is a little bit weird, I'm not going to lie. Like every NPC that you talk to for a side quest speaks Japanese. It's a video game, I guess, so I don't really care too much about that, but if you care about immersion, that might be a thing, I suppose. The performance of this game is absolutely great. I had 0 issues, no bugs, no frame rate drops whatsoever for my 60-hour playtime, which is the main story, as well as with some side quests. Keep in mind though, I've only played on PlayStation 5, not on Xbox Series X or PC. So if you have questions about that platform, unfortunately I cannot answer those, but I haven't really heard anything bad about the performance of those platforms, so I don't think there shouldn't be any worry about that. The Yakuza games have always been very well optimized with no bugs whatsoever, so I don't see Infinite Wealth being magically a bad PC port whatsoever. We also have to talk about the soundtrack though, because the soundtrack is an absolute banger in this game. Especially the gang battle music. That stuff goes hard, I can tell you. Now I do have some negatives though on the presentation of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which is the voice acting. First of all, the Japanese dub has some horrendous English voice acting, like I'm talking about PlayStation 2 era voice acting right here. Like, isn't there any good voice actor in Japan that can speak both Japanese as well as English? Is there like no one to cast for that?
Officer, help! I'm being robbed! This hoodlum wanted money, and she pointed a gun right at me.
Madam Naylor, you see, forbids the use of fire in human conflicts.
English, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
They have some Japanese voice actors to pronounce English voices, but man, it just falls flat on its face, and it's for one character in particular that's important in the game, which is a little bit disappointing. Let's talk about the elephant in the room right here, which is the English dub Kiryu. Yeah, not it, man. Like, it's a miscast. Kiryu is being voice acted in English right now by Yong Ye, and Yong Ye is a very good voice actor, but his voice just doesn't match, in my opinion, Kiryu's rough tone and older age. They are pretty small things at the end of the day, so I'm not really going to complain too much about that. So the gameplay of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is absolutely amazing, and it's the highlight of the game. The turn-based combat system has improved over the previous game, and there are even more wacky mini-games and more in-depth than before. There is always a sense of progression in this game when it comes to the gameplay, and because of that the gameplay pacing is very well done. You might find a new special technique or move that you can use in combat, or you get unique crafting materials, or you get new opportunities to strengthen your bonds with your party members by partaking some side activities in the open world. I praise the gameplay pacing here especially because it is a 50-hour plus long story for a RPG, and if the gameplay pacing can be so good constantly, that is the sign of a very good game, because most open world games tend to drop off in its gameplay pacing after some time, but Infinite Wealth always gives you something new to play with, which I really appreciate. And of course, the side quests in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth are just as good as the previous games, and man, this game had me laughing out loud in certain moments.
1, 2, 3.
There are some genuinely funny moments in this game, especially when they make fun of the whole Sujimon shit, basically parodying Pokemon. I was just laughing my ass off because I am a very big Pokemon fan as well, and to see all these Easter eggs in here, shall I say, inside jokes, are always amazing. And of course, a Yakuza Like a Dragon game wouldn't be the same without minigames. And this might be the best entry yet with its minigames. As I said previously, there is this whole Sushimon mechanic. You had this already in the first turn-based game as well. You had a Pokédex where you could basically record all the enemies in the game and they would have their own Sushimon entry. They go a step further in this game and they have this whole trainer battle turn-based mechanic where you can actually catch criminals as Sushimon and add them to your party. They have their own typing like water, grass and fire, and you use that to battle other Sushimon trainers in the open world. And there is this whole Sushimon League as well, where you can face off against the champion of the Sushimon world. This whole side quest mini game chain was whack as hell, and that alone will give you 30 hours, 40 hours plus more gameplay time as well. Great stuff. There is also a island that Ichiban gets in the middle of the game, and basically they do this Animal Crossing mini game where you can basically build your own theme park on an island. You can gather resources, stuff like that, build a whole town, build your own room, build your own furniture. And there are these two wacky mascots as well there. That alone, again, adds what, 40, 50, even more hours to the game already. It has its own subplots, side quest line of story as well. It's just mind-blowing. RGG, if you are watching this, I swear to God, have your lawyers ready, because Nintendo is not going to like this. They are fierce ninjas and they will try to take you down for this stuff. But man, if you want an Animal Crossing or a Pokemon game and you like a dragon, go for it. It's there in infinite wealth. And of course, we have the other classic mini games as well present in this game, like your karaoke, batting cages, food delivery, which is a new mini game that you can do. The arcades, you can go there. Blackjack, mahjong, card games are there as well. And there's this whole new Tinder dating style mini game, which is in depth as well, and you can date other characters and that will improve your speech and stats and stuff like that. Crazy stuff, man. Yakuza is known for it, and Infinite Wealth might be the best with its mini games to date. Now let's talk a bit about the turn-based combat system, because that's also still part of this game. They've improved it over the last game. Now you have basically a 360 kind of movement system, and you can walk and backstab someone for extra damage. And that is just a whole new layer of gameplay that opens up. So there is more strategy now in the turn-based combat, where you can do a side attack, and even there are some physics when you hit someone. Let's say, green screen, don't die on me. If you hit someone and there is a car driving by, you can hit them and then the physics will throw them against the car and they will take extra damage. Amazing stuff. That was also in the first game, but because now you have this basically free movement in 360 to up a certain area, shall I say, you cannot move everywhere, it adds more also player freedom to choose if you want to make those actions towards a physical thing. As you guys might know, in Yakuza, when you play the older brawler games, you might have bikes lying around, or maybe a pole, something like that, something that you can pick up. Of course, there are two playable main protagonists, one being Ichiban and the other one being Kiryu. And of course, for Kiryu we have something special. He has his three own styles, his brawler style, rush style and grab style. You can switch between those in combat and they all do something differently, and it's amazing. And Kiryu being Kiryu, because he is overpowered, his final move, his special attack, he can just break from his turn-based bounce and he can go full on brawler mode again, beating up everyone he wants. Of course, this is very overpowered, so it's only for a small time that you can do this, but man, it's such a great send-off, shall I say, for Kiryu to have this in the turn-based combat system. I really loved it. And of course, the job system is back again, and you can basically switch up towards any other class that you want. Maybe you want Ichiban to be the hero class or the sword fighting class. And I have to say the classes this time around, or shall I say the jobs, because that's what it's called in the Like a Dragon universe. You can also, of course, customize your party members however you want, and that is a good thing because there are a lot of elemental weaknesses that the enemies have, as an example, or different kind of buffs, debuffs. I mean, it's an RPG, you guys know how an RPG works. If you've played any other turn-based game in the past 20 years like Persona or Dragon Quest, it's the same kind of thing, but all represented in the real world of Like a Dragon, and it's fabulous. Also, you now have these special synergy moves that you can perform with your teammates, and you can basically do double team attacks, and the stronger your bond is with your team member, the more powerful they will become in combat. You can basically do these drink link episodes, they are called, where you get more background from the characters that you drink with from your party members, and you can increase your bond with that party member. The better you perform in these drink link episodes, the stronger they get in combat, and that also ties back to the progression of the game. It's such a well designed thing. This was already in the first game, but now adding in with those team attacks, and it makes for even a better experience this time around. So, I have some bad news to tell. Well, it's not bad news for you guys, just bad news for me. Basically, the recording just stopped out of nowhere. You might see that I am different right now. I shaved my beard a little bit. I have to do this shit all over again. Absolutely great. I love green screening. I really do. So let's talk a bit about the story of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. So the plot of Infinite Wealth is actually pretty interesting. Ichiban is traveling to Hawaii in search for his mom, because he has heard that his mother is alive still up until this date. And of course he sees some familiar faces along the way in Hawaii, but of course the journey isn't going to be that easy. The best thing I can say about the story of Infinite Wealth is definitely its character development. All the characters get a very good progression in the story of their own character, and you see them gradually evolve throughout the story. My two most favorite characters in particular are the new additions to the cast, Tomizawa as well as Shitose. And of course, this is Kiryu's last game as being the main protagonist, and they give him an amazing send-off. He has his own chain quest line basically with memory quests, and if you do these memory quests, he will remember important moments from his past, and he reminisces basically on those moments. And the more of the quests you do, he basically gets stronger in combat as well. So it also ties up nice in the gameplay. They also bring back older characters that you've met in previous games, and there is some very nice interaction between Kiryu, kind of interaction between Kiryu and these older characters. I won't spoil too much, but they give older characters also kind of a conclusion, shall I say, that you've met in the previous games, and they do a very good job with that. That was very amazing. If you are a Kiryu fan, I do believe that you will really enjoy what they have here for him, especially in this game. So not everything is perfect. I still have to talk about the negatives of the story, and there are some very important negatives. First of all, the pacing, especially the beginning of the game, is slow, like very slow. The first 1 to 2 hours of this game, be prepared for cutscenes after cutscene. This could have been tied up much better. It's still a necessity though for the context that they try to tell with the story, because you do need to know what happened between Yakuza Like a Dragon and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. It is kind of a necessity, but still, this could have been done much shorter in my opinion. The second thing I was not a fan of in the story was all the VTuber stuff. I'm sorry, I find VTubing just kind of cringe, I'm not going to lie, and I know it's a big thing in Japan, and of course it's made by a Japanese developer, so they are going to bring this type of stuff in their game. I cannot fault them for that, doing that. It's catering to the audience, of course, in Japan. And especially when they pick like this anime girl character. By the way, I love anime, but in the context of Yakuza with these very serious storylines and very serious characters, it kind of just not fits in my opinion. And I know Like a Dragon has a lot of goofy moments, but most of these goofy moments are part of the side quests and not of the main storyline. And also there is a big plot hole at the end of the game that I discovered with the VTubing stuff as well. Normally RGG is so good when it comes to plot holes, they never really leave plot holes behind, but I noticed a big one at the end of the game, near the end, not at the end, but near the end of the game. Still though, it is a very good story. Don't let that sway you to not play this game. It's still a very good plot at the end of the day, especially thematic wise. There are some very good things in this game that I really liked that I can't spoil for you guys. And the thing is, this story might not be at the height of like a Yakuza 0 or maybe a Lost Judgment, because those two in particular are some of my most favorite stories in the Yakuza universe. Still though, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth's story is still better than the usual Ubisoft story. RGG at its worst is still better than Ubisoft at its best. If you compare it to other generic open world games, RGG is still miles ahead, so don't worry. In a nutshell, the story is really good, but I do have some problems with the beginning pacing as well as the VTubing stuff. I did not like that at all. So now I'm basically coming at the end of the video where I talk about basically the final verdict. And most of the time how I do my final verdicts, I look at the positives and the negatives and I weigh them out. And it's very clear to me that this game has so many positives outweighing its negatives, at least in my opinion, that I can give this a very high score. To recap, I have some problems, very small problems though, with the presentation. They are very small. The gameplay is the best in the series yet, like 10 out of 10, amazing stuff. And the story is also really good, with just two particular main flaws I have. So rounding that up all together, my final verdict for Yakuza Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth will be a 9.5 out of 10, which is a very high score. When I give something like that, I call it most of the time an amazing game or badass game. You need to play this. If you are a fan of RGG in particular, this is a no-brainer. You have to play it. If you are a fan of JRPGs in general, you have to play this. If you are a fan of turn-based games, you need to play this. Thank you guys for watching this video. I have moaned and bitched a lot about the behind the scenes stuff that you might not notice. The green screening is difficult, I'm not going to lie. There will be more video game reviews in the future, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see video game leaks, rumors, news, as well now as reviews. And I also want to throw in more video game discussions as well, just basically everything about video games, but I mainly cover single player games, keep that in mind. I cover PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, all the big platforms, as long as they are big single player games. And especially Japanese games, because I love Japanese games, JRPGs in particular. I also cover Western RPGs, as well. Thank you guys for watching this video. Maybe leave a like on this video, that would help me a ton really. And don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below if you have anything to tell about Yakuza Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. If you have your own opinion of the game, let me know in the comment section down below. And maybe we can have a discussion, if it's a civil one, of course. I love you all. I will see you guys in the next video here on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. You're still watching? This is kind of like the after credit thing. You don't really have to watch anymore if you're still watching. I don't know why. You can just go outside, touch grass or something. Man, I really hate green screens. But I guess I will have to learn more about that. I do have lighting stuff purchased, which is not here, to make the lighting better as well. What a project this is. Here is Todd Howard, because why not? You can green screen us on the Titanic or something like that. I believe I can fly. Oh, that's the wrong song. Wait. Todd is going to close off everything. I'm done for today. Fuck this shit. I'm done.